Men, you are crashing your health into the guardrails of life. You can see it over top. There's guardrails back there. There's roads that have guardrails so we don't go off the deep end into a creek, into a river, into other lanes of traffic. But the problem is that a lot of people, when they're driving, they are not focused on the road. And where their focus is, that's where their vehicle goes. So new drivers, tell them don't run into the guardrails. Don't run into the guardrails. But you keep getting their mind focused on the guardrails, and they're likely to drive directly into the guardrails. This is exactly what happens in our life, in our health, even in our marriages and our finances. When we start to focus on where we don't want to go, when we focus on what we don't want, then we start moving in that direction. We start focusing on, I don't want to, when I got into law enforcement, I didn't want to be like the others that, just eat gas station food all the time. I didn't want to be that guy. Well, therefore, while I was that guy, because that's exactly where my focus was. I was focused on not being that, and I started being exactly that. So we have to have our focus on what we want. And this is a big issue for a lot of people, and I've been there too, that we don't know what we want. We know what we don't want. We know what we don't want, so we focus on that. And there's things in our lives, there's guardrails that try to keep us on the path, but we're too busy focused on the things that we don't want. So I want to encourage you, first and foremost, figure out what you want. Yesterday I talked about the 4 steps to unlocking your full potential, and the first one was faith. And you cannot have faith in something that you don't want. So if you're focusing on what you do not want, you cannot have faith in that, and you will not believe that it's possible for you. Now, when you start to focus on what you do want, when you identify what you want, this is the first step of having faith, identifying what you actually want so you can move in that direction. Then the second step is to create that visual. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Who are you in that position or in that place? And then after that, create I am statements and just repeat and remind yourself of that every single day. And I'll go into more details of this in the free webinar coming up on the 4 steps to unlock your full potential. And the first one, this is just the first one, faith. But you can't have faith in something that you don't want. You have to identify what you want, and when you focus on what you want, you are going to move in that direction. When you focus on what you don't want, you're going to move in that direction. So, do you know what you actually want? What do you want your health to look like? What do you want your marriage to look like? What do you want your finances or your business to look like? What do you want your purpose in life to look like? You can visualize it. You can nail these down, and when you nail these down, when you get really clear, and I struggled with this for a long time, but when you get really clear about what you actually want, you can start moving in that direction. And I think this is a good space where there's a bit of a difference between faith and believing. Like when I first started Warrior and going through the Warrior method, I believed that there were a lot of good things possible for me, but I didn't really have faith that they were possible. Faith is something deeper. Belief is, yeah, I think it's possible, or yeah, I believe it's possible, but faith is seeing it. Faith is being it. So that's the difference between Faith and believing. Faith is you be it. Believing is just you think it is. So we have to first know where we're going, know what we want before we can have faith in that thing, before we can have faith in ourselves. So I want to encourage you to identify what you want. And if you're struggling to identify what you want, again, this was me for a very long time. I had an idea, but I didn't have a clear focus. I didn't have a clear, not even path, just direction of which I wanted to go. And that held me back for months, probably actually years. So if you're struggling to figure out, what you want in your health, what you want in your marriage, what you want in your business, message me. Let's get clear about what you want so you can actually move in that direction. Every time I meet with a new client, we start asking these questions and they're like, I don't know. I don't want this. I know I don't want where I am now. We all know that we don't want where we are now, but we don't know what we actually want other than where we are now. So we have to get clear on this. So again, if you're struggling with this, DM me and let's have a conversation. Let's move you in the right direction so you can move in the right direction. And if you want to join the webinar, DM me and I'll get you the link to get signed up. The 4 steps to unlock your full potential. And it starts with faith. It starts knowing what you want. So figure that out and move in the right direction. God bless, and I love you.